Okay, so far we've heard about AI and about Poverty Stoplight. Our final session this morning before lunch will take us into the world of financial technologies or fintech and how it can help in expanding financial services to populations living in poverty. For this session, we will be joined by Anthony Githinji, Regional Business Director at water.org, who will be joining us virtually from Kenya, where I believe it's currently after 7 p.m. So thank you so much for joining us at around dinner time. And Antonio Orozco from the Institute for International and Global Engagement for this next session, Financial Technologies and Inclusion. Anthony, can you say something so we can test it?
Hello, good evening, good morning. Can you hear me now?
Yes, good evening.
Great. Okay, happy to be here. Let me just share my screen. 1 minute. Thank you very much, and happy to be here to talk about our experiences as water.org in the East African markets. As you know, water.org has been in the business of providing access to water and sanitation by connecting finance to households in terms of access to microcredits to be able to take water and sanitation loans for their needs. And so far, globally, we've been able to reach over 63 million people with our programs. We have presence in several markets in Latin America, in Africa, South Asia, and Southeast Asia, as you can see on the screen. We basically are connecting households to access to finance through what we call water credit, which is basically microloans to households who need to connect or to get a water solution in their households. But you can see over the last 9 or so years, we've continued to expand our impact. But more so, the most important thing is that over the last 5 years, we have more than 2/3 of our impact coming in. This is basically because we've kind of expanded our focus from not just households, but also working with enterprises in the water and sanitation value chain, as well as utilities that need finance. So that has been enabled us to kind of reach more people. At the same time, we set up a fund, impact fund called Water Equity that is able to provide wholesale capital to FIs and utilities that are required to expand their services. So I'll have to talk about fintech in the context of our work. As you know, fintech is basically trying to kind of make it more efficient for financial services to reach more at the bank as well as the unbanked people. And basically, we've done this through use of mobile phones because mobile phones are easily accessible to the low-income populations. And in the African context, we see the fintech sector being worth about $65 billion USD by 2030, and it's been going at a very fast rate of 32% per annum. And basically, you realize that this aligns well with the UN projection that the African continent will double its population to around 2.4 billion by 2050. And you know that most of the population will be at 25 years of age. So this aligns well in terms of where the continent is going, in terms of the population growth mix, as well as fintech's growth aligning to the users of phones and the like. So if I talk about our program in the context of Kenya, as you know, we have M-Pesa, which is a Safaricom channel for providing access to money transfers that began in 2007. And what happened is that with the success of M-Pesa as a money transfer solution, commercial banks in Kenya started trying to use it to kind of get more access to either deposits and savings. And what we realize is that the regulator, the Central Bank of Kenya, allowed the banks to connect to M-Pesa. And various banks called them different names. M-Kesho was with Equity Bank, M-Swad with NCBA Bank, and KCB M-Pesa. These are the 3 largest banks in the Kenyan market, as well as the East African market. At the same time, there was a push moving from savings and transfers into becoming a lending solution. So if you're familiar with the M-Pesa evolution, we had things like Lipa na M-Pesa, which is basically an overdraft facility that is available for users of M-Pesa through aggregators. At the same time, one of the banks that we partner with, Equity Bank, was able to kind of buy a mobile network operator called FinServe to be able to do this on their own without using M-Pesa, and also abandon M-Cash, which was their app, because of disputes around revenue sharing. So Equity Bank has been Water.org partner since 2011. We supported the bank to roll out household lending for water and sanitation for 5 years in the initial start. And then around 2016, 2015, we helped them also start lending for enterprises and utilities. And now recently, we've launched this program of fintech with them, and I'll be sharing the results of that program shortly. But of course, we've seen other banks now, light on the fintech to be able to create digital lending apps into the market. And also later on, we've seen other digital lenders like Fuliza, Branch, Tara, and Zenka having to come to the market. And we have 51 licensed fintechs in Kenya by last month. With that support, fintech, we've seen access levels in terms of financial access improve from 26% when we did our first survey in 2006 to 84% when we conducted a survey in 2021. So this would have been possible without the use of fintech solutions to spur that kind of financial access growth in the country. On the table on the left, you see currently from this survey that was done in 2021, average loans, 4% of the loans on annual basis are coming from the mobile apps in terms of traffic. That compares to the value, which is mobile apps are the third largest traffic for loans after commercial banks and microfinance institutions and cooperatives. So you can see that there's a sort of a shift in terms of number of loans that go through mobile and fintech solutions compared to traditional ways of banks and microfinance institutions and money lenders and the other types of lending like social networks. So what we've done now, as I mentioned, with Equity Bank, is to riding on their FinServe solution, Equitel. We kind of work with the bank to develop a dedicated solution for water and sanitation lending in Kenya. This was in around June 2021, where we provided a small TA grant of around $200,000 to help them configure an app sort of dedicated for water and sanitation. And how this works is that everything is digitized on the phone. We have manufacturers of products. These are mainly the tanks, storage tanks, pumps, as well as purifiers. Those are the initial products that we have piloted with the bank. And we also have the merchants and agents at the local level, at the rural community levels, who kind of stock this equipment, and as well as the customer of the bank. So what happens is that the customer is able to go to the stockist or the agent and request a product. It could be a tank or a pump or a filter at the moment. And just using a phone, make an application and get approval for the loan instantly. And then from there, the merchant will just get a notification and release the product. And at the same time, the merchants are able to use the same, phone to be able to make orders at the manufacturer level, to be able to get the stock supplied back. So all the steps in this are all digitized in a way that we don't need any paperwork, we don't need time wasted. It's more of an instant process. The beauty is that the stockists are able to enjoy, stock finance from the bank. They're able to get dedicated till numbers to be able to do their business. The bank supports them in terms of branding and marketing of these products, and of course, training of their employees to be able to understand how this should work. For the manufacturer benefit, is more a good relationship with the bank to be able to enjoy, some of the trade finance instruments, a more dedicated insurance facility, and of course, access to finance and loans if they need that. So far, in about 2 years, the bank has been able to lend 8,300 loans. In terms of capital mobilized, it's been able to lend loans about 10.6 million. And the average term for the loans are 6.3 months on average. So you see, with an investment of around 200,000, the bank has been able to mobilize around 10.6 million towards water and sanitation. This is over 50 times in terms of the multiplier effect for the effort. So this is one program that we are piloting. We hope that at the end of the pilot in 2024, we're able to kind of use these results to entice other banks in the region to be able to take up dedicated apps for water and sanitation. However, our next slide shows there has been challenges in terms of this project. Some of the customers have not adapted technology, more or less due to financial literacy issues. So we've been trying to use smartphones as a future, but most of the customers of the bank are still on feature phones, and this has been a challenge. The other issue is about, these are very specific products, a tank, a water filter, and a water pump. Some of the customers or households will require more tailor-made products like rainwater harvesting solution, for instance, or a pipe water connection. This has not been possible with this program, but it's more of the many offerings that the bank will have. The other thing is about merchants and agents' credibility. Some of the merchants are not able to kind of fully integrate their, this technology into their solutions. And what we've done is try to continuously recruit and train them to be able to support the efforts that the bank is making towards this program. And of course, the MIS upgrades, as you realize, are quite high to make sure that there's a dedicated fintech solution for water and sanitation. Given our situation in Kenya, sometimes the systems is down, or maybe the bank is doing some reconfigurations. They're offline sometimes. There's also been some challenge in terms of trying to sort of become a challenge in terms of implementation. But generally, we see financial exclusion is declining. If you look at the initial days in 2006, the people on my right, we had around 41% formally excluded. Of course, due to the use of some of these solutions like fintechs, this has gone down to around 12% in 2021. And why is that? Is because sometimes the young people do not have like national IDs to be able to buy a smartphone and get into the banking systems. The other thing is about some of these challenges around rural populations not having access to good internet and all that, as well as, of course, the poor people not being able to afford mobile phones. Of course, there are issues around interoperability between systems. M-Pesa is a dominant solution. It's not able to kind of mix with other solutions that are there. So that has been an issue. Also, in terms of pricing of products, it's not been very well defined in terms of between various providers in the market. As I mentioned, there's an issue of connectivity where we have low internet coverage in some markets. Some locations, we are still on 2G or 3G. And of course, the network in terms of the grid system is not everywhere in the market, in the Kenyan context. Of course, there are regulatory challenges around cybercrime, lack of enabling regulations. That has affected, of course, the uptake of fintech solutions in Kenya. So as I conclude, some of the things we see in terms of touch points for fintechs, payments is one point that is already happening. Lending, as I said, we are starting that dedicated for water and sanitation. We will hope to roll that out into other partners we have around wallets as well, digital banks, as we see with Equity and M-Pesa. Remittances is another touch point that we see taking up fintechs as well as crowdsourcing for small enterprises. Yeah, I think I'll end there, and thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Anthony.